And I wanted to give you a few tips about how you're training now and how that's going to look in the future. And one of the things is we want to be as efficient as we can with our time. And as they say, we want to be able to get the maximum benefit from our workouts in whatever capacity that is. So the first thing I would recommend to a lot of people, consistency is the key. And it's not about doing something for a month or 2 months. It's about being consistent for the rest of your life with that. You can do a very bad program, but do it consistently enough, and you're going to see the benefits a lot more than the perfectly designed program that you do for 6 months or a year, for example. So this is critical. Be consistent. It has to be part of your life, and it can't change. So prioritize functional movements. Look at movements that will add value to your life later on. So things like squatting will translate into a sitting, standing position. Lifting heavy things up from the floor in terms of a deadlift, that's another thing that adds value. Those are the priorities when you look at a program that should be part of that program or the core of that program. With what I've seen with especially the older population, what is neglected is a lot of the stability work and a lot of balance work that is not part of a lot of programs. And these are critical for later on because they're going to be the base for how you're going to move, whether it's going upstairs, going downstairs, whether it's being able to maneuver, being able to kind of hold yourself if you do start to fall. These are all critical things that need to be developed or enhanced at this stage in your life. Whenever we're doing any of the training, whether it's aerobic in nature, whether it's flexibility, whether it's stability work, whether it's strength training that we're going to be doing, we always need to be able to kind of challenge ourselves for the body to benefit from it. And what I mean by that, it doesn't mean pushing the limits where you're going to injure yourself. It's always about the risk versus reward part of it. But we need to understand that if we are going to look at our program, then we've got to challenge the body for it to grow and get better. So if we're starting at 0 now, for us to kind of progress over the next, let's say 40 years into our 80s, then that 40 years needs to be a challenging, each and every single session that you're going to do needs to be a challenging enough that the body has to adapt to that in whatever capacity it is. So having said all of that and kind of shown you some of the basics of what kind of movements you do in the gym or wherever you're going to train and how that translates when you're 80 years old is critical because we need to understand what we're doing now, what the purpose is as we're doing. Why are we doing a pull-up? Why are we doing a squat? Why are we doing a step-up, for example? These questions are so critical that we need to understand that we're doing it for a purpose when we're 80 years old, all right? And understanding why are we doing a treadmill session, for example, or a bike session, why are these things important? And always ask yourself these questions when you're doing a workout. And I get it, sometimes you want to do kind of like the biceps and the triceps just for the aesthetics of it. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. But the majority of your work, 70–80% of it, should have a purpose in terms of living a longer life, if that's your priority. Some people don't care about that, and that's fine. But for the people out there that are looking to improve their health or live a better quality life in their older ages, then they need to be looking at the movements they're doing now and seeing how that translates into their older life. So that's all I have for you today about that. I want you to sit down with a piece of paper, write those down, and you can put them in the comments if you want. What are your 10 movements or 10 physical activities that you feel are critical for you that you want to do the rest of your life?